In this video, I would like to talk about getting into shape. Now, why am I qualified to talk about this subject? Well, in 2005 and 2006, I competed in two bodybuilding competitions, and I'm going to show you the pictures right here. But I always loved doing sports. During my teenage years, into my 20s, I did karate, I got a black belt, I was an aerobics teacher, and I was even a Swiss aerobics champion and competed in the World Cup in Tokyo. Now, when I was young, I was always impressed with movies and with movie stars like Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, or Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I kind of wanted to look like those guys. So that's why I decided to go into bodybuilding and to work on my physique. Now, when we talk about getting into shape, there are a lot of people trying to teach you what works and what doesn't work. And the problem is that there is a lot of confusion. So if you have 100 different opinions and 100 different teachers, obviously people get completely confused. They say, well, should I go for the asparagus diet, or should I do this trend or this and that? And there's a lot of people who just don't know what to do, and they get confused. They go to the gym, they don't really make any progress, and they try to do a certain diet. And let me tell you, from my experience, what really works. Okay, so if you want to get into shape, I can prove to you with my pictures here that I've actually done it, that I've been in the best shape of my life. And I had also a great teacher. I had the former amateur bodybuilding world champion as my direct coach and teacher. So what you're going to hear is not just theory, it's actual experience and it's actual knowledge that works. So listen up. Well, at first I want to start with the food groups, and there are three main groups. Number one are carbs or carbohydrates. And carbs are things like bread, pasta, rice, potatoes, sugar or wheat, okay? Then we have proteins, which are meat, fish, chicken, poultry, egg whites, or protein powder. And then finally we have fats, which are oil or mayonnaise, or also a part of avocado, for example. Now, a combination of foods are things like, let's say, cheese. Cheese is a combination of proteins and fat, because cheese has no carbohydrates. Or if you look at cake, cake has a lot of carbs and also fat, but hardly any proteins. So we have those combinations too. Now, the main thing is that you really understand what you're putting into your body, and once you start getting that awareness and start reading the labels of the foods that you eat, that's when you can start to make a plan. The first lesson I want to teach you is this. You need proteins. You need a lot more proteins than carbohydrates. Now, why is this? Carbohydrates, if you eat too many carbohydrates, your body will take what it needs for energy, and the rest it will store into fat. So if you have too many carbohydrates, that's going to turn you fat. Okay, it's not necessarily eating fat that will make you fat, but it's the carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are bad. So avoid them as much as possible. You should eat more protein. Now, why? Okay, protein is the building block for your muscle. Okay, and if you want to get into shape, you need to build muscle. You want to lose fat and build muscle. So the problem is that you don't, even if you don't want to become like a big, huge bodybuilder, you want to make sure that you have more muscle than fat, because the more muscles you have in your body, the more energy your body requires to maintain those muscles, and therefore you will automatically lose fat. So you want to eat more protein, and here's also why. Because the more protein you eat, or let's say you overeat protein, your body will not be able to turn it into fat. So whatever excess protein your body has will be getting rid of. So you can basically eat as much protein as you want, and you will never get fat. Now, how much protein should you eat? Well, you should eat at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Okay, so if you're, let's say, 200 pounds, you should eat at least 200 grams of proteins. Now, if you're 200 pounds and you're a bodybuilder, I would eat even 300 grams of protein. Now, how does that work? Now, instead of eating 3 larger meals, you should eat 6 meals, and you should break it down, having 3 meals where you have a portion of protein and, vegetables, for example, and then you have 3 protein shakes throughout the day as a snack, so to speak, so that throughout the whole day you get in your 200 to 300 grams of protein if you're, as heavy as me in that case. Now, another interesting thing is that, as you know, too many carbohydrates will make you fat. And eating too much protein cannot make you fat, so your body will get rid of the excess protein. Now, there is a thing called ketosis. And ketosis is if you completely eliminate all the carbohydrates from your diet and you only eat proteins and fat. So what does that mean? You eat, let's say, eggs and bacon with mayonnaise or oil, so to speak, in the morning. And then you eat steak and sausages and whatever else you want to eat. So basically you can eat proteins as much as you want all day, but no carbohydrates. And that's called ketosis, because after about 2 days, your body will go into that stage that's called ketosis, where it has no other option to burn energy, for the blood flow, for maintaining the body heat and so forth. Then it is forced to take the energy from the stored energy from your belly, for example, from your fat deposits, in order to function, okay? So if you deplete your body completely from carbohydrates, your body is forced to use your fat deposits. And that's actually a good thing. So if you want to go on a diet, the fastest way to lose weight is to completely eliminate carbohydrates. Now, should you completely eliminate carbohydrates altogether? No, okay? In my opinion, you can have carbohydrates in the morning or at lunch after your workout, because that's when it is less likely to be turned into fat. But at night, you cannot have any carbohydrates because your metabolism goes down, and about 5, 6 o'clock at night, if you eat carbohydrates at that time, then everything will pretty much be turned into body fat. So when you eat carbs, eat them right after your workout, because that's when your body needs the energy. It will be less likely to be turned into body fat, or in the morning or at lunch, but never ever at night. Another thing that I often see or talk about with women is, let's say they eat all day, they go to work, and then at night they go to the gym. And what do? They go on the stepper, on the treadmill, on any kind of machine, and then they go there for an hour, and it's kind of torturous for an hour, a long time, and they do that for a year. And after 1 year, they're still the same. They haven't lost any weight, their body hasn't improved, or they go to all kinds of aerobics classes, and they're still struggling with losing weight and getting into shape. Now, and there's 2 main reasons for this. Number 1, if you do cardio, okay, which helps with the fat burning process, you should do it in the morning on an empty stomach, first thing, without eating anything. Okay, you can drink a couple of glasses of water, but do not work out with any kind of food in your body. Why? Because let's say you eat all day, right? You have food in your stomach, and your body needs energy because now you're working out. But your body will always take it first where it's easiest to get by, and that's from your food in the stomach. So how much fat do you really burn in that case? The answer is 0. Okay, so you don't really burn any fat. And that's the opposite of what you want. So you have to force your body to burn fat when he has no food available. So either first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, or I'd say 3 hours at least before you go to the gym, you cannot eat. Okay, that's important. Now, the second part is that most women, they say, oh, I don't want to get big muscles. I want to be slim and skinny and lean and so forth. Well, ask yourself, what is your body made of? Okay, it's made out of your skeleton, okay, and then muscle and fat. So basically, your shape or your figure is made out of muscle, okay? Now, you want to get rid of fat and have muscle. Now, your muscle mass will take up 5 times less space than fat mass. So basically, in order to get slimmer, you need to build more muscle, okay? And that's very hard for some people to understand, especially women. And they also do 80% of their workout with cardio, with aerobics classes and so forth, and only 20% with weights. But that's where they need to switch around. You should do 80% of your workout with weights, with heavy weights, and 20% cardio. Okay? And if you start to do that, your whole physique will change. And the reason why is because it takes, at least 48 hours for your muscles to recover, and it takes about 8 hours to recover after a cardio session. Now, when you eat carbohydrates, you should eat 2/3 of your carbohydrates right after your workout, okay? So after your workout, you can really eat, and that's good because your body needs to repair all the muscles that you have used and needs to have energy to take care of that, of the muscle tissue. Now, when does your body grow muscle? Is it while you're working out or at night when you sleep? And the answer is at night when you sleep, because that's when it has time to recover, to build your muscles and so forth. So, therefore, before you go to sleep, let's say 9 o'clock at night, you should have only protein. You should have like a protein shake last meal. The last meal of the day should be a protein shake, so that when you go to sleep, your body can use the protein to repair your muscle. Now, when it comes to fruit and vegetables, fruit sounds like a positive thing, and I love fruit, okay? But fruit is basically has a lot of sugar. Even though it's natural sugar, it's still sugar and it's carbohydrates. Now, you want to eat fruit only in the morning, okay? Only after workout, for example, because you don't want to have the extra calories or sugar in your body throughout the day. So when I was doing my bodybuilding competition, I didn't eat any fruit whatsoever, okay? And obviously for health reasons, it's good to have fruit in your diet. But I would only recommend if you, let's say, go on a 3 or 4 months period where you say, okay, I really want to get into shape during that time, then cut out fruit altogether. But have lots and lots of vegetables, because vegetables have hardly any calories, and vegetables are great because they have fiber and so forth, and they're also healthy for you, obviously. Now, when you exercise, sometimes you have a good week, sometimes you have a bad week, sometimes you overeat or you eat a lot of junk food and so forth. Now, the problem with this is that if you really want to make progress, you need to make a pact with yourself for, let's say, 12 weeks or 3 months. You need to be super strict with your diet, with your food, with exercise, and consistency is more important than always being perfect, okay, by the way. But you need a period of time where you, let's say, don't drink any alcohol, where you exercise every single day, and where you really focus on having lots of protein and less carbs, okay? So if you do that for a certain period of time, that's when you will make progress. If you're constantly up and down, nothing will ever change. Now, when it comes to working out, how do you make the fastest progress? And here's what I know. 80% of your workout should come from heavy weight training. And this is what I mean, heavy. Every time you do a set, you increase the weight, and you always increase the weight. And let's say you start with 12 repetitions, then 10, then 8, then 6. Okay, so you constantly increase your weight. So always think heavy, heavy, heavy. Your muscles will only grow if they are attacked, if it's difficult. Okay, so that's when you need to that's what you need to focus on. Cardio is also important for obviously fat burning and so forth, but you should do it after your weight training. So weight training is the number one exercise that you should do. Now, how should you do it? You should do about, let's say, 45 minutes of weight training, or maybe an hour of weight training, and then 20 to 30 minutes right after. And this is what I mean. You do it, let's say you do your last exercise with weights, and immediately you walk or run to the treadmill and you start doing your cardio, okay? And you don't need to do like hours and hours of cardio. That's not necessary. Because if you start with weight training, your pulse starts to increase. And after about 35 minutes of weight training, you start to burn fat. So now you have an hour of weight training. You're already in your fat burning session. And now adding another 20 minutes, we'll just finish it and continue with the with the fat burning process. And you don't need to do it like crazy. Sometimes doing it 3 times, 4 times, 20 minutes, just as an addition to your weight training is going to make all the difference in the world. And you should weight train at least 5 or 6 times per week. As I said, if you work out in the morning on an empty stomach, you will burn 3 times as much fat as if you do it in the evening. Okay? Yeah, maybe you don't have as much power and energy as if you have eaten all day and you have more power and energy in your available to you, but the same is true for fat burning and weight training. So you should do your weight training first thing in the morning. Another thing that's practical too is you've done it and you can continue go on with your day and with work and responsibilities and family and so forth. So I would recommend going to the gym first thing early in the morning. Now, when it comes to food and diet, okay? So as I said, you should do about 12 weeks or 3 months where you commit to a certain diet, where you say, okay, I'm going to follow through on this. Now, nobody's perfect, okay? And each one of us has desires, like, oh, I love chocolate, for example, and I can't live without chocolate. But I shouldn't eat chocolate every day because it's not going to help my goal to get into shape. Now, if I psychologically feel like I'm constantly hurting and suffering because I can't have my favorite chocolate, then I'm going to go crazy. I'm not going to follow through with my diet, okay? Because I'm just human. Now, but you can plan a cheat day in advance. And typically, you can plan 1 day per week where you can eat whatever you like. So let's say Saturday or Sunday, for example, is your cheat day. And that day, you can eat whatever you like, okay? And it helps you psychologically to follow through with your diet.